It is summer, and cold air is in demand. My AC system did not function as expected. I suspect it needs to recharge. There's also another problem. I noticed the driver's side vents blow hot while the passenger side blew cool. Of course, this was when the AC was functioning correctly. Sometimes it worked as expected. I'm not sure what it is, and my guess is a sensor regarding temperature. I have endured this for many summers, given its intermittent state. There's yet another issue. I hear a noise from the vents. This has been happening for a long time. I brought it into the dealership's attention over a decade ago and... crickets. I need to find out what is happening with the AC system. Here's the plan. I will run an automated diagnostic using the climate controls after and before replenishing the refrigerant. Here are some quick facts. Before I begin, I wanted to know what Honda said about the AC system. This is a sticker with the AC specifications and was printed in 2006. It is to the left of the engine bay, facing, and towards the back. Since 2006, there are new refrigerant options. It is to note that HFC-134A is the same as R134A. R134A is non-ozone depleting, but it adds to global warming. I'll be using an American brand, Enviro-Safe Industrial R134A replacement refrigerant, SUV. It is made from petroleum gases and has a pine scent. Frankly, you should not be smelling this thing. I switch the ignition to the on, that's number 2 position. I then turn to the climate control. I turn the AC system on. The next step is to press and hold the off button. While pressing and holding the off button, press the recirculation button 5 times within 10 seconds, then release the off button. The self-diagnostic will begin. Notice I did not make any changes, yet still it went to high, then it went to low. This is a sign that the test is being conducted. Wait for about a minute for the test to complete. Once complete, it will display 8888. Each of these digits, 8888, are made up of lines. Each line signifies a specific problem. Come in real close. What this means is there is an open in the driver's air mix control motor circuit. Given the symptoms that I'm feeling, I guess this will not be a problem during the winter because hot air is coming in. I suspect this has to close off for the cool air to come in at a proper ratio where it's not overpowered by the hot air. If the unit appears off, then there are no detected faults. To fix this problem, the air mix control motor has to be replaced for the driver's side. This maintenance is next. To get to the air mix control motor, I need to remove the driver's side lower dashboard cover. A screw needs to be removed and then the dashboard cover will be held in by only clips. The dashboard cover is pried up. This way I can get a finger in. Once in, I'll be able to pull down, releasing the dashboard cover from the clips. The next step is to unclip the wires from the buttons. I had to use a tool to help with the removal. I guess I need stronger thumbs. I'm getting nervous because there's a wire here which is not connected to anything. I wasn't the first to enter this dashboard, and this is the second loose wire that I've seen. And there's also a crack in the dashboard side. At the far side, 2 additional disconnections have to be made. One is a sensor. The second one is the backup sensor. That's when you put it in reverse and it senses when something is near. But this switch was broken and it was just patched up with tape. I don't think it's going to work again when I put it back together. This duct has to be removed. It's held in by 3 screws. The top screw is quite challenging to get to. It's very difficult to see. However, I managed to squeeze my head up, get a good look, and undo the screw. These are self-tapping screws. And there it is, the air mix control motor, which has to be removed and replaced, held in by 4 screws, I believe. It was a challenge. The hose that you see is connected to the dashboard, and there's a slot which it goes to that keep it in place. As a quick note, the wires entering the white clip lead to the evap temperature sensor. I may have to replace this later on. We'll see. This screw took some time to undo. This is the screw that I'm mentioning that was difficult to get to. It, however, was not as bad as the one which held in the duct. I had to remove the lower trim in order to retrieve a screw. Now, the installation of the air mix control motor is the reverse of the deinstallation process. The next test is to check the temperature from various sensors, which is called the sensor input display mode. To perform this test, the ignition should be off. Press and hold the auto and recirculation buttons, then start the Ridgeline. After starting, release the buttons. The sensor number 1 will be displayed. After a brief pause, the reading. The sensors are numbered 1 through 9. To move to the next sensor, press the recirculation button. Sensor 1 is the in-car temperature. The value is 2 degrees off, which is close enough for confined space. Sensor 2 is the outside air temperature. This is also close enough. Sensor 3 is the solar radiation sensor under the windshield. The sensor is reading incorrect. I'm parked under a tree and in the shade, but it is sunny. It should at least read cloudy. Sensor 4 is the engine coolant temperature. The car is off, so this is fine. Sensor 5 is the evaporator outlet temperature. Okay. Sensor 6 is the driver's air mix opening percentage. Yeah, as you can see, there's I'm not sure what's going on there. Sensor 7 is the passenger's air mix opening, and you can see I have a number which is quite good. Maybe that's 3%, I'm not sure. And then sensor 8 is the vehicle speed, which should be 0 as I'm not moving. Then sensor 9 is the driver's vent air out. Yeah. I repeated the test and I got a very strange reading on sensor number 7. Very odd. Now I'm hearing some noise coming from the passenger side air mix control motor. I may have to replace that one as well. I probably will. After replacing the driver's air mix control motor, I redid the diagnostic test. This time I'm not certain what it is saying, as the reference manual I have did not indicate what this is. However, the opposite side indicates that there's an issue with the temperature sensor for the evaporator. Given my lack of understanding, hopefully someone in the community can assist. Well, I know the AC system needs to be recharged, so let's proceed with my experience in recharging the AC system. At this point, I started the vehicle to see what would happen, and the readings plummeted. The refrigerant is not where it should be. There is some refrigerant there, so I'll have to recover it. I'm in a tough position here, as I will not be using the recovered refrigerant and will not be able to destroy it. Nevertheless, back to the issue at hand. Weighing the refrigerant was a little bit tricky, but it's unnecessary, since 1 can is enough to meet the minimum charge of the refrigerant. So I did not waste my time further weighing, although I considered it and started to do it. The replacement is not R134A, it is different. It's also flammable, unlike R134A, which is non-flammable. I think it's made from propane or natural gas or isobutane. To counter the risk of fire, I'll install an extinguisher under the hood. Honda does warn against using flammable refrigerants. I will proceed anyway knowing this. Now, the charge has to be done with the can upside down. I did lose a little bit of refrigerant because the hose was not connected correctly. Oopsie. It's a good thing the refrigerant is environmentally friendly. Before adding refrigerant, I pulled the vacuum and I left it for about 45 minutes to an hour. It held at the required number, minus 30, I believe, or close to that. I began to charge the AC system. I used one entire can, which is equivalent to 21 or so ounces. I did lose some, however, I did not ensure that I topped it up to the max. I left it where it's at, and here are the results. It was blowing quite cool. I'm very happy with it. Seems I lost some footage, but I think the final readings on the meter was 30 to 35 and around 250 on the high side. Since this refrigerant is flammable, I'm installing some form of fire suppressant device. I think it's a good idea. Now I simply stick it under the hood near to the area where the AC system is. I probably should add another one over the other side where the battery is, and maybe some additional ones inside the cabin by the floor, and other places where fires tend to spread to or start from. This concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I have linked several videos in the description to show you how to charge the AC system. For me, this was not necessary to show. I was not adding anything new. The refrigerant, however, was new, and it delivered very, very good results. I'm quite pleased with it. Thank you. I hope you subscribe so I can grow the channel, and check out my other channel, Maintaining 18, where I do home maintenance, renovation, and repair. Thank you.